This episode of Division 13 is written and performed by Crosshair. Thank you for listening. Episode 2, The Harvest.
Statement of Thomas Hale, recorded at 2:17 a.m. Pike County Sheriff's Office. Incident location: Hale Family Farm, County Road 7. Date of event: October 18th, 1985.
Listen, I don't drink, and I ain't crazy, and I know what I saw. It's easier if I tell you in order, the way things happen. You can write down whatever part you want. Just don't turn out the lights again. The week before it came, the farm got quieter. Not peaceful, but hollow. And the wind stopped rattling the dry corn. Crickets were missing, and the dogs, well, they refused in our field. They slept under the kitchen table with their paws over their noses. When I stepped into the yard at night, I couldn't hear the highway 3 miles off. Even the electric fence had no hum. It was like the world was holding its breath. My wife June said it was weather settling. My brother Evan, well, he said it was coyotes. I didn't say anything, because there wasn't really much to say. And not that it made any sense. You know how a storm charge tastes on your tongue? Well, it was kind of like that, but colder. Like old pennies pressed into an ice cube. On the 12th, the moon was the color of butter and big as a dinner plate. We were finishing late, last cut of alfalfa, and then I went to the barn to check the yearlings. The smell of hay and diesel, the kind of smell that says everything's all alive and working. I remember that so clear, because it stopped so hard. One of the horses coughed just once. Then the frogs in the drainage ditch went quiet mid-croak, cut off like a radio. And a single bulb over the tack room flickered, but didn't die like it wanted to. And underneath it all, I heard something moving through the north field. Not footsteps, not an engine. A slow dragging sound, like a wet sheet pulled up across gravel. I thought it was a buck tangled in the fence wire, so I grabbed my mag light, and then the 22, just in case. Yeah, you never know what you're gonna find sometimes. And then I headed for the corn. June called after me to wait for Evan. And I told her that I'd just take a look and be right back. The last words I ever spoke to her, normal-like. The corn was tall, dead dry, ready for harvest. It made 1,000 small blades you usually hear when you push in. But there was nothing. My boots went into the rows, and all the sound got swallowed. The moon turned the leaves into a kind of flat tan color. More shadow than crop. The beam of my flashlight, it didn't throw dust. Not even a moth. That's how I knew I wasn't alone. When it's only you, the night gives you something back. This night kept it. I smelled bleach. Something sweet, rotten. Then I saw the scarecrow. It's important, what Scarecrow looked like before. Burlap head, flannel shirt, straw hat, old red bandana. For her mouth, because June said the crows hated red. It's like a stop sign. She laughed. The thing in the north field where it faced that same red. But it weren't cloth. The red was slick, and it caught the moon like a wet tongue. It hovered a foot above the corn. There was a shape under it. Some kind of gray, black curtain. All torn at the bottom, pulling the stalks forward with no hands. Where it trailed, each leaf tipped down like it had been rained on with soot. I raised the 22. 'Cause that's what men do when they're scared. We pretend to be brave. My barrel trembled. I told myself it was a person. Some druggie in a costume. The mouth on that red face stretched. Not opening so much as peeling. And it made a sound. Like a laugh caught in a jar. And it turned its head. No eyes. Not the way we have them. Just two white ovals under the red, like eggshells pressed under thin skin. They didn't shine. They took the shine. When those ovals looked at me, the flashlight dimmed. And deep in that dark curtain, something moved. Something moved slow and patient like a shark. I fired. The sound died as soon as it left the muzzle. No crack. No echo off the silo. The bullet went into the curtain, and I smelled something. Like a burning book. The thing rippled. And the ripples had edges, hooks, that weren't there a second before. All pointing the wrong way. Like claws that grew sideways. Behind me from the house, June screamed my name. The curtain slid fast then, faster than the wind, faster than a hawk's shadow over the field. It didn't lunge at me. It reached past me, toward the house, long shred ends of itself drawing lines through the corn that didn't bend back when it passed. I ran after it. The rose for once giving me noise, as if the world was waking up late. The moon was overhead like a coin I couldn't spend. At the edge of the yard, the thing slowed. It floated above the grass with its torn edges skimming the tops of the weeds. It turned toward me for a second as if to mark me, then drifted to the porch steps. The screen door was open. June stood inside with the dogs, and they were jammed between her legs, hackles up and all teeth. Evan came lopping from the bunkhouse with a shotgun. He pumped around and yelled. You might as well have tossed a pebble into the well. The red face tilted, listening. like it heard our bones more than our voices. I thought it would go for June, but it didn't. It leaned toward the dogs. They went silent mid-snarl, eyes bulging, tongues out like they were choking on invisible collars. The curtains, the edges, stroked their muscles, almost tender, and then it pulled back. The dogs fell over twitching, legs running like in a dream, foam stringing between their teeth. Evan fired into its middle from 6 feet. The shot tore the curtain. Where it tore, it looked like silk in water. The hole closed with a shiver. Evan tried to rack another shell, and then the pump jammed, as if time for that motion had been spent already. The red-faced eased toward him until it was inches from his own. He whispered no twice, but both no's came out of me. My mouth said them without wanting to. It swallowed his no, chewed it, and I swear to God, that mask smiled, wide with a little black thread of music running from it to the place where Evan's voice should have been. He went to his knees without a wound. He kept trying to say my name, but nothing came. His lips made the shapes, and the sound belonged to that thing now. I did the worst thing, the only thing. I called it. I said, "Hey," then louder, the way I call cows. I didn't know why. Maybe I thought if it took my words, it would leave theirs. It turned, and the curtain lifted like breath drawn. For the first time, I felt the cold. Not air, but like weight. It came at me. Up close I saw the threads that held that red face on. Not stitches like cloth, but hair. People hair. Gray, brown, blonde. Braided into the edges and sunk under the skin. It got so close, you could taste my breath. My chest squeezed, my lungs made a long, slow exhale. They didn't stop when I needed them to. I thought of the pond in January, breaking under my boots. The way it feels to fall in, not be able to find the hole again. The red face was inches off mine, and I could see behind it, into the curtain thing. Shapes moving like hands in a sack, trying to push out, but too tired. I heard names in there. Neighbors. Missy from the feed store. My mother. Not the voices themselves. The marks they left. The mouths that thing had stolen from them. I don't know why it let me go. Maybe it's because June said my name right then. Sharp, perfect, like always. The way she does when the barn door's about to swing back. Take off a finger. Maybe it's because Evan, voiceless, threw the shotgun through it. That confused it. Or maybe it needed me alive as a kind of witness of the harvest. It drifted upward, edges trailing off, leaving frost where it passed. It moved toward the silo, then past it, then into the north field again, wearing that red face like a lantern, the white ovals turned toward the moon. I followed until my legs forgot how to run. It disappeared where the corn meets the creek line. I can show you the place. The stalks are black as chimney sweepings, and the tassels curl like burned hair. When dawn came, the dogs were dead. Evan too. June. She breathed shallow all morning. And then it stopped like a clock run down. The doctor said cardiac arrest. I say, her name is in that curtain now. Evans too. I'm sorry. Give me a second. You asked me what it was. Not really sure. Maybe it's a scarecrow that learned to scare the wrong way. Not a ghost. Ghosts belong to someone, you know. This thing was lacking. But it learned to hunger. It wears a red face, the color of mourning, because it's proud of what it is. It collects what makes us heard. Our voices. And it feeds on that. Till the body stops being worth the trouble. At least maybe that's what I think. You'll ask why I'm still alive. I've had a day and some change to think about it. The best I can figure, it didn't finish. Like it was full up from the dogs, Evan and June. Like a tick. Or he wanted me to talk. Maybe that's part of it somehow. Like how it spreads. Have the survivor pay it forward. Speak it into the mouths. So it can find the next field. When the crickets go quiet. You want to go out there at night? Don't. You'll ask how to stop it. I don't think you do. But if you're set on trying, do it when the wind is moving. When the farm sounds like a farm again. Noise might be a kind of fence. Don't bring names you can't afford to lose. Carry something you're willing to have taken. I'll sign whatever you want. But I won't say this again. You think I didn't notice you want me to? You city men, you fill silence with talk. But that would be the worst thing you can do.
End statement. Detective notes. Thomas Hale was found dead at his house a few days later, emaciated like he hadn't eaten in weeks. A stark contrast to how he appeared just a few days earlier. Further inquiry necessary.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, consider subscribing and hitting the like button. Stay cool, stay kind, and I'll see you next time.